Hey you guys, what is going on? Shaquan here from SLFX Trading, and in today's video we are going to be talking about a few currency pairs that could potentially be swing traded this week. So we're in the month of December, and this is the time where you have a holiday, actually two holidays, because you have Christmas and then you're going into New Year's. This is the time when you don't want to build your charts. You kind of want to let your trades run. You want to start to set up your trading plans. You want to start to think about a risk management strategy going into next year. You really don't want to be bogged down with too much to do. And this is why I'm going to give you guys a few swing trade setups that could actually work for you while you're living life and working and spending time with your family. So let's go ahead and get into it. So if you guys do not know, I am a Forex swing trader, which means I like to hold trades. I like to teach other people how to hold trades, and I use just one simple strategy called TMP. That is the strategy that I created, and it literally leads you into a trade. It tells you everything that you need to know. So we're going to start with the T, which is for trend. One of the first things that I do when I get on the chart is I'm on the daily time frame, because I truly believe the daily time frame is the bridge between the weekly and the monthly, and then any time frame lower than that, which is at your own specific specifications, right? So whatever time frame you use below the daily, that's up to you for your entries. But the daily is literally the bridge, and you can trade the daily alone. Like, you can enter and you can exit, like a real life bridge. So you want your journey on this bridge to be as smooth as possible, because I don't know about you guys, but bridges scare me, right? Like, I'm afraid of being on a high bridge, water under me or a city under me, and it comes tumbling down. And so what I've done in trading is I've created like measurements or these rules to say, hey, Shaquan, to make this journey easy, this is what you need to do to enter the trade. This is what you need to do to exit the trade. And if you lose the trade, this is what you need to do to make sure you don't blow an account or risk more than what you should be risking. And that's what I'm going to show you guys in here today. So here on AUD USD, the first thing I look at is the T in TMP. I'm looking at the trend. I need to establish myself as the buyer or the seller and trade in that direction. Set the full picture in the scenario, right? So as you guys can see here, we have a higher high, higher low, higher high. And all this means in simple terminology is we had a high price at 0.67963. Price retraced down to 0.65843. And then it increased back up, passing the previous high to a new higher price of 0.68516. Now, if school taught us anything, it's that things like to repeat themselves and create patterns. 1 plus 2 is 3. 2 plus 3 is 5. 3 plus 5 is 8. So basically, if I keep this pattern going until something changes, what do I think is going to happen? The pattern would keep going. So if price pulled back and it made a new high, what do I think price might do? Pull back and make a new high. And that's what we're trading for when we say that price is in an uptrend. I'm a stickler of saying, hey, let me trade what I speak, right? So if I say price went higher, I'm the buyer. So now this moves us on to M, market structure. And I use what I call my estimation zones, because all I'm doing is estimating prices within a range of exchange rates where I'm going to take my entry, right? So for example, the first thing I start with is the lowest price that I would love to see price stay above, because that's where I place my stop loss. And this means that if price were to pull back, where don't I want price to pull back to? I don't want it to touch 0.65843. I don't want price to go there. And the reason being is because that's where price just came from. And so once again, dealing with the pattern in the market or a trending market means in an uptrend, price keeps making higher lows and higher lows and higher lows and higher lows and higher lows. And the higher it goes, I'm going to flow with it. Once again, it's that bridge. Stay on the bridge, right? What I'm going to do is say, okay, if I want price to stay above this price, I know I'm putting my stop loss here. Where am I entering the trade? Now, your estimation zone, if you choose to call your information that, your structure that, some people call it support and resistance. Some people say supply and demand zones. Some people say trend lines. It's whatever you want to call yours, right? Make it personal to you. That's what I've done for me. So for me personally, I want to enter above that price, and I just place my zone above one of my leading candlesticks. It's up to me where I place mine. Just like for my students, it's up to them where they place theirs. It's up to you where you place yours. No one can tell you where to put it. It's your eyes, right? But I know I want to enter here at 0.66811. Now, you guys may notice that I already have the trade set up with my targets. I even have a break even point. And that's because we're going to move over to the P, which stands for price action. Now, normally what I do is when I see price get close to my zone, I'll say, okay, let's estimate the time that it would take for me to enter a trade. And I learned I missed out on a lot of good trades trying to control what it is that I see. So I don't want to do that anymore. So this year what I did was I taught my people and myself how to set pending orders. That way what we do is we eliminate ourselves from the time restriction. All we have to do is analyze the trade, and then we set the pending order and we let price trigger us in. We know where we're going to place our stop loss all the time before we ever enter a trade. We know where the take profits are going to be. So why not? Right? It just makes more sense. And honestly, it's worked out a lot better for us too this year. So we've collected data on that, right? I'm going to set a buy limit order here at 0.6681. All right. And if price this week, which soon, today, tomorrow, whenever, can touch that exchange rate, it will trigger me into the trade automatically. And I already have my take profits back up to the high, -27. And I already have my break even point. So to be honest with you guys, in trading, I know that we're stickler for how much we can make versus how much we can lose, right? All of us are sticklers for that. But to be honest with you, this is about tracking data, tracking the process, keeping the money that you're making, managing the risk. So for example, let's say the trade does start to go my way. Well, once it reaches 50% of the way to my first take profit, I'm going to move my trades to break even. The reason being is because just in case anything happens, just in case price goes south on me, I want to make sure that I don't lose money. However, if price does hit my stop loss, I'm okay with that because I already know how much I've risked per my account. And I have enough money to trade again the next week or the week after. And I'm allowing the trade to set back up because not only do I lose money, but the setup says Shaquan price reverse, trade the opposite direction. And so I'm giving myself time to let the next setup set up for itself. And I'm giving myself time to process the loss. I think a lot of times in trading, a lot of traders don't process the loss. They just jump right back in, which you should. You have the right to do so. But sometimes you really need to feel that loss. Look at the reason why you lost. Literally analyze it. Come to the understanding that maybe it wasn't you or it wasn't your fault why you lost the trade. Maybe it was just the market. But whatever case may be, just prepare yourself to get back in. Because something else that I noticed this year for myself and other traders is that a lot of the traders sometimes don't follow up with the next trade. Meaning, you lose a trade and then you stop trading the pair or you go to something else. But if you kept your mind on the change that the pair made and you adapted to it, maybe you would have made your money back and more on that same currency pair. So I've realized that's a mistake that I made a few times this year as well. And the only way to get better is to talk about it and to really look at it and to hone in on it, right? So that's something that I've noticed. But all is well with this pair, right? So we have this set up here. So we're going to go to another currency pair within the same category, which is New Zealand dollar USD. And we're going to look at this one as well. So taking a look at this currency pair, what I'm going to do is walk you guys through the trade that I took from the previous week on this pair. And I'm going to lead you to this trade here. I want you guys to see how I'm able to continue to trade the same setup. I'm not changing anything. I'm not adding anything. It's literally the same. And this is what I mean by following up with the currency pair. So here mid-November, we can see that price had a higher low here at 0.60634, but then price made a new high at 0.62887. So I knew I wanted to be in this position as well. And I was telling my students, you guys, I haven't traded this pair in a while. Price just has now given us a setup, and I haven't traded this pair in a couple months because it's not reached my estimation zone. And when price has not touched my zone, Shaquan don't enter into a trade, honey. And that's exactly what I don't do. And so anyway, so price pulls back, right? I set my pending order. I have my stop loss. I have my take profits. And guess what? I got triggered into the trade automatically by setting my pending order up at 0.61685. Stop loss was here to 0.60634, back to the previous higher low. First TP was back up to the high. Second TP target around this area here, right? So I let the trade run. So I get triggered in, and it took about 2 to 3 days for price to hit both targets. Now, coming back around to what I just said about updating your price chart. When something is trending, stay on that trend. And so what I'm noticing now is that, well, we have a new high. And one thing I teach my students is that you don't know how high price is going to go, but you also don't know when price is going to retrace. But when it does, set the position up. So this is exactly what I've done here. So you guys can see that doing the same thing I just done in the previous trade. I'm updating the chart. I know where my stop loss is going to go. It's going to go back up to the previous higher low. So now I see prices starting to pull back. Now I'm going through, well, where do I want to enter the trade? And where do I want my take profits to go, my stop losses to go? Like, those are the 3 things that you really need to know, right? And so I have where I want to set my pending order, my buy limit, because we're above the price in which I want to buy from. Price pulls back and it puts me into my first trade. Once again, I already know how much I'm going to risk on the trade. So this is already sought out beforehand. I have my pending order already set. TP, same rules that I used the previous trade, back up to the high, my -27, and then I'm done. So if I get triggered in, I'm not having to come back to trade. I'm not having to come back to watch this go pip by pip. I have no trading time, okay? I'm just going to let price do its thing. Now, the first target is around 200 pips. So I'm going to set a break-even point halfway, so about 100 pips. As you guys can see, I'm doing this right now. And so if price reaches 100 pips, that means that price has to have worked in my favor. If it does that, I would then manually move my targets to break even, or my trades to break even. That means that I have 2 risk-free trades. And this is really important with managing your positions. If we want to learn how to limit our trades, right? Potentially cut a loser. To cut a loser can also mean sometimes you're not losing. You just don't want to put yourself in a losing situation. But however, going back to what I said on AUD/USD, if price doesn't go my way, I am okay with the loss that I will take, okay? Losses are inevitable. We lose in this market. And if you're not okay with losing from time to time, you're not going to be okay when you win. And I know that's kind of weird to say, because some people say, well, I'm okay with winning. But what happens when you win, but you give it back because you lose? And then something psychological happens where you trade because you're greedy. You trade because you want a revenge trade. Things like that. That can soak up your profits, okay? We don't want to do that. Now, the only thing that can invalidate this trade as well is if price reverses or price just keeps going up on AUD and New Zealand dollar, which means we don't have a trade this week. Because another thing I want to hit on, just because we have a setup does not mean that price will reach the pending order or will reach my estimation zone or any of that, right? I've had that happen with both NU and AU the past few months where I've not been able to take a trade up until recently. So being a swing trader, you really are patient. I can say the same thing can go for day trading as well too. There are some days you have a trade. There are some days that you don't. Just depends on your trading style and how long you want to be on the chart and how long you want to let your trade run. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. One thing I love about trading is that it's a big puzzle, and the puzzle isn't always easy to put together, and it can get stressful, it can get time consuming, but there is a really good reward. It's not always money, it's learning more about yourself. And I've been able to learn a lot about myself this year that I know is going to help me evolve and enhance going into next year, which is always the goal, to get better every single year. So if you like this video and you found value, give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions, post them below. And if you want to work with me, you can set up a discovery call to work with me, and then we'll talk, we'll chat, and then we'll make some time to move forward together. So I pray you guys enjoyed the video. Happy trading this week. Be safe. God bless.